what you're doing. Before you send your family history book to the printer to share with the world, please, for the love of trees, make sure it's not boring. In this video, I'm going to show you how. Howdy, I'm Devin Noelle with Family History Fanatics, where we help you understand DNA, climb your family tree, and write your family histories in a non-boring way. Now, many genealogists dream of writing the book and sending it to archives, libraries, and even other family members. But the problem is we're still writing in a style that was developed in the 1870s. Nothing wrong with the 1870s, but the register style writing method developed in the 1870s, well, it has flaws. And I know it's controversial because there's an organization that tells you to write in this way. In fact, they won't accept your writing if it's not in this format. But it is boring, and you need to stop wasting trees and computer resources on these types of books. Now, this is register style writing, and it's oh so enjoyable. Reinhold, son of two people, was baptized in this state, in this location in England. He died in Lyme, CT, I'm assuming it's Connecticut, in the summer of 1662. His will is dated. There's an inventory. He married Marie, judging by the date of the baptism of her eldest child, in 1617 or 18, but no record has been found. The register's not complete. She died not long before her husband. Evidence of the will. Is this exciting? No. No, it's not. Not in the least. But there is something pretty exciting right over here. Her death was attributed to witchcraft. Okay, stop the press. Witchcraft? 1662? In Connecticut? I thought witchcraft happens in Salem. So this book missed out on an opportunity to tell a really great story because it's written in that register style. The style so many people keep trying to print. Now, in 1870, printing was very expensive. It was a luxury to be able to print a book with family history. So this was very helpful. But last time I checked, we're in the 20-somethings. I mean, 2020 at least, and printing is cheap. It is so cheap. So we shouldn't have to be forced to write these types of family histories. So if you think that this is going to excite your family about their family history, tough love, baby. It's not. So how can you improve on this? Well, I wrote a blog post that's going to be linked into the description, and there's going to be lots of resources to help you write better. So be sure that you absorb the description box for this video. But the very first thing that you can add to make this be less boring is to add explanations. How old were Edward and Margaret when Reinhold was born? What's the birth order? Is he the first? Is he the fifth? Is he a long-awaited first after they got married 10, 15 years before? Just how far apart is the age of Reinhold and his wife Marie? I know we're working with the 1600s and you don't always have definitive answers, but give us a rough idea. Next, could you please describe the places? I have never been to England. I have no idea where Essex is. Now, I've learned where Cornwall is because I'm a huge Poldark fan, and I've heard of London once or twice. So where is Essex County? Is it close to London? Is it far? Is it close to the coast? What kind of geography does it have? In this time period, did it experience a lot of famines, or did it experience a budding basket of agricultural product? Describe Essex. And while you're at it, tell me about the church. What type of religion was it in that time period when Reinhold was born? I guess it's Church of England, but I don't know all of my English history like the back of my hand. So tell me about this church. And then what did that church look like? Do you get the idea? All of these details would then make me go, oh my gosh, this is really cool. But you have to add the facts rather than forcing me as your family history reader to have to go check it all out. Do the work for me and you might get me hooked on my family history. Now, the other problem with register style writing, and in fact, many of the things that are being produced and published by genealogists, sorry guys, nobody cares about the proof. Well, okay, some of you care about the proof, but remember, we're trying to write books that, our family wants to read. And if you're not, then stop watching this video. I totally get it. But proof arguments are not enjoyable reading. So if you want to explain how you discovered your research, that's what the appendix is for. And if you have a couple little side notes that you need to add in of, we're estimating this birth date because there are no birth records. We're going to base it on the marriage record, of which we don't have. So you see what I'm saying? You could put that in a footnote at the bottom of the page. Don't put it in the writing because honestly, nobody really cares. Finally, add context. Top of my mind, I do not know who the ruler of England is in 1594. Sorry, it doesn't come at the top of my head. You should never make your reader work that hard to understand the time and place their ancestors lived. It's not dumbing down the book. It is making it more enjoyable and making these connections so they go, oh, that makes sense. So, who are the leaders in 1594? What are the political fights taking place? Now, I know this is pre-Napoleon, by at least 200 years, but what kind of battles are taking place? Because when you start anchoring your story into historical time periods, all of a sudden it becomes far more enjoyable, and you don't have to be a creative writer in order to do that. Some additional topics of context could be, how old did people typically get married in England? Now, I'm a huge fan of Regency era romance novels. So that's about early 1800s set in England. And they talk about how the older men, when they're about 30, that's when they start thinking about getting married. And then you have these fresh from the schoolroom, 18, 19, 20-year-old girls going and having their season in London. And it's not unusual for a 30-year-old and an 18-year-old to get married. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. You can tell me in the comments what you think. But add a little bit of historical context to help us understand, oh, this age gap is typical or atypical. If you're loving these tips, go ahead in the comments and say, great tips, thanks so much. I'd appreciate it. So 2 more tips about how to add context to your story. Go ahead and add in the socioeconomic conditions of Essex and compare it to London. And if you can, compare it to your ancestors and the other people in the village. Now, typically when we're writing about people from the 1500s, do you know who actually gets records written? Yeah, people who have land and money and titles. So if you're writing that early, you almost have the story written, but do us a favor and add that in. Now, I could go on and on and on talking about how to improve your writing, and you don't have to be a creative writer in order to accomplish a non-boring book. You just have to add details. So why don't you go ahead and check out the description for this video for more tips on how to get started writing. And if you want a methodical approach to writing your family history, I have a book called A Recipe for Writing Family History, and the link is in the description. You're going to love it.